I've often wondered where people or how people can be such clear thinkers and have responses for live interviews. I don't think I'd be good at that answering in the moment, but I'm always also surprised by the level of introspection or the clarity of their thoughts and the way they've thought about things, how deep they've thought about them. And I guess I wonder what their technique is for thinking and for distilling and remembering information. And I'm wondering if they're spending a lot more time producing or somehow figure out their own system for um, refining their thoughts, which is what I think I'm finding now. I think some of us need an alternate system, like perhaps journaling or a way to really internalize information in our own way, right? So we kind of feel like we've experienced it. For certain things, you can learn by doing like a lot of mathematics and physics problem sets, or coding problem sets can be done, or writing and grammar and all these things, and music, and etc. But other things like history, you cannot experience somebody's, lived experience history yourself. But most things, I think, like lessons from history and philosophical ideas, you could process yourself and refine and figure out how to integrate into your own little model of the world or worldviews or whatever it is. Or how can you even use this thing, right? And now that I'm doing the voice recordings and maybe also the writing, the journaling, and the focus on just production instead of production and reflection, and not just consumption, a limit to a very high degree the 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 consumption. I feel like even if I stumble and I get lost, my thoughts are becoming a lot clearer and developing a lot further than I thought possible, or that I knew was possible. That I didn't get this feeling before. Now that I'm not reaching for the internet or for books or for references or for other people's opinions or to look things up, I'm just finding like more clarity and more the ability to keep going, right? That I thought I would run out of things or get stuck completely. And it's kind of the opposite. I've been able to kind of refine and maybe even see where my own line of thinking started to fall apart and how I maybe was, yeah, just talking nonsense, or my arguments is not as well formed as I thought they were, and they're just like uh, weak, and the process of just speaking out loud and maybe even hearing myself. Um, I think right now I'm just dumping, but if I actually go back, and I have done a little bit, but not enough, going back and listening, which maybe is not a requirement, but I think even just recording and speaking it out loud, it's a new mode of thinking for me. It just engages you in a different way. Maybe it's the reason why the learning how to learn class and other people talk about how speaking and communicating and actually explaining it to somebody else is the real true test. Because before, maybe I was just being lazy, and maybe verbalizing is part of the process. Like speaking out loud is a big part of it. But and maybe I should try writing by hand too. But not just that, not just speaking. I think it's just not reaching for that source or for that thing that I thought I was missing. Uh, and then going on a rabbit hole or getting derailed. Now my derailment is just my own natural brain derailing, not necessarily an external source. Even my environment could derail me, but like the honk of a car outside or whatever noise. But the derailment is basically almost non-existent. It's just a natural derailment built into myself and my own mind. And I think before the derailment was like, okay, I'm thinking about this, but I'm missing this key information piece. And my brain is being lazy and it doesn't want to recall it or even try to uh, formulate it because it might be quote unquote wrong. Not realizing who cares if it's wrong, like even if I found it, I could have, it could be like the wrong attribution to somebody that doesn't exist anymore, like a lot of Confucius or Albert Einstein quotes. And who cares if I might mispronounce a word or mispronounce a name, or remember the wrong idea? At the end of the day, I could still even wrestle with ideas and play around with them and think about them myself and pull out what I can and just play around with that. It's like doesn't matter what the ball playing with actually is. This idea is just interesting in itself. It came to me for some reason or another. And I guess the ideas that are resonating the most now are those of Rubens, Rick Rubens, I guess, and Victory, where it doesn't really matter that much, right? Just in you. That's the point.